Have you ever seen something you couldn't explain? A light in the distance, floating through the darkness, moving where no person should be. Now imagine thousands of people seeing the exact same thing for more than 2 centuries. Scientists have investigated it. The government has studied it. Skeptics have tried to explain it, yet the lights still appear, dancing silently above Brown Mountain in the mountains of North Carolina. Some believe they're spirits, others say they're natural phenomena, and a few believe there's something far stranger. Tonight, Southern Shadows opens another forgotten page. This is the mystery of the Brown Mountain Lights. Chapter 1. A Mountain Full of Secrets. Brown Mountain sits in the rugged Blue Ridge Mountains of western North Carolina. Unlike the towering peaks surrounding it, Brown Mountain is relatively low, stretching several miles along the Pisgah National Forest. During the day, it's peaceful. Rolling forests, steep cliffs, quiet streams, just another beautiful mountain in Appalachia. But as darkness settles across the valley, people begin watching, not for wildlife, not for the stars, they're waiting for the lights. Small glowing orbs suddenly appear above the mountain. Sometimes they're white, sometimes orange, occasionally blue or red. Witnesses say they hover in place, then drift silently across the ridges. Some split into multiple lights, others vanish without warning. They don't behave like campfires, they don't move like headlights, and they don't resemble airplanes. They simply appear as if the mountain itself has come alive. Visitors have traveled from around the world hoping to witness them. Some leave disappointed. Others leave convinced they've seen something they'll never forget. But the mystery didn't begin with tourists. It began long before highways, long before cameras, long before electricity. Native American tribes told stories of mysterious lights moving through these mountains centuries before European settlers arrived. One Cherokee tradition says the lights are spirits. One Cherokee tradition says the lights are the spirits of warriors searching the battlefield after a devastating conflict. Another tells of grieving maidens carrying glowing torches while searching for loved ones who never returned home. Whether these stories were meant as history or legend, no one can say for certain. But the lights were already part of Appalachian folklore long before modern investigators arrived. As settlers moved into western North Carolina during the 1700s and 1800s, they began reporting the same strange phenomenon. Hunters, farmers, travelers, each described glowing lights moving silently across Brown Mountain after sunset. At first, many dismissed the reports as imagination, until the sightings became impossible to ignore. Even respected members of the community claimed to have witnessed them. Whatever was happening, it wasn't just one person's story. It was becoming a mystery shared across generations. Chapter 2. When the World Took Notice. For generations, the Brown Mountain Lights were little more than whispered stories. Hunters talked about them around campfires. Families mentioned them on front porches after dark. Travelers carried tales home of glowing lights drifting above the trees. Most people dismissed them as folklore. After all, mountain stories have a way of growing larger with every telling. But then something happened. The stories reached the newspapers. By the late 1800s and early 1900s, reports of mysterious lights over Brown Mountain were appearing in local publications. The descriptions were remarkably similar: glowing balls of light, floating silently through the darkness, appearing without warning, then disappearing just as suddenly. The witnesses weren't all thrill seekers. Many were business owners, teachers, railroad workers, law enforcement officers, people whose reputations depended on telling the truth. Some described a single glowing orb. Others reported several lights dancing together across the mountainside. One witness claimed the lights hovered for nearly an hour. Another insisted they seemed to rise directly from the mountain itself. As the reports multiplied, curiosity spread. Visitors began making the journey into the Blue Ridge Mountains. Some traveled for days. They climbed overlooks and waited patiently after sunset. Many saw nothing, but those who did never forgot it. Then came one story that would become one of the most famous, a tragic legend tied to a devastating train wreck. According to local folklore, a railroad engineer was guiding his train when disaster struck. The locomotive plunged into the valley below. The engineer was killed. Since that terrible night, people claimed a ghostly lantern could be seen moving across Brown Mountain. Some believed the engineer's spirit still searched the tracks, forever looking for the train he lost. It was a heartbreaking story, one that perfectly matched the mysterious lights. There was just one problem. Historians searched records and newspaper archives, and they found no evidence that such a train wreck had ever happened on Brown Mountain. The legend was powerful, but the history didn't support it. Yet strangely, even after that explanation was questioned, the lights remained. People continued seeing them. Whatever floated above Brown Mountain, it wasn't disappearing with the legend. Instead, the mystery only grew. By the early 1900s, it was one of America's most talked about phenomena. Chapter 3: The Government Investigation. By the early 1920s, the Brown Mountain Lights were no longer just a local legend. They had become a national curiosity, so the United States government decided to investigate. In 1922, the U.S. Geological Survey sent engineer George R. Mansfield to western North Carolina. Find the truth. Mansfield wasn't a ghost hunter. He was a scientist. He believed every mystery had a logical explanation. For weeks, he interviewed witnesses and studied maps. Night after night, he watched. Then he began eliminating possibilities. Could they be campfires? Some were. Could they be train headlights? A few matched distant locomotives traveling through nearby valleys. What about automobile headlights? Atmospheric conditions sometimes bent and magnified those lights, making them appear to float. Mansfield concluded many sightings were ordinary sources viewed under unusual conditions. His report was thorough. To many people, case closed, but not everyone agreed, because there was one problem. Even Mansfield admitted not every sighting fit his explanations. Some witnesses had observed lights where there were no roads, no railroads, no homes, no campfires. Others described lights rising straight up from the mountain. Those remained unexplained. Over the decades, other theories were offered: swamp gas, natural gas ignition, piezoelectric effects, tiny electrical charges created when certain rocks are placed under stress. The Blue Ridge Mountains contain quartz-rich rock formations capable of generating electrical energy. Could shifting rocks create glowing balls of light? Possibly, but it hasn't been reproduced in a lab. Every explanation answers some questions and leaves others unanswered. More than 100 years later, the mystery remains. Perhaps there's still something we simply don't understand. Chapter 4: The Mystery Lives On. As the years passed, the world changed. Railroads gave way to highways, lanterns became flashlights, film cameras became smartphones. Human beings even walked on the moon. Yet, the Brown Mountain Lights never stopped appearing. On clear evenings, visitors still gather at overlooks. Some bring binoculars, others sit quietly. Most nights nothing happens. The mountain grows darker, the wind whispers. Then, without warning, a tiny glow appears. At first, it looks like a distant star, but stars don't rise from a mountain. The light grows brighter. It drifts slowly across the ridge. Sometimes another light joins it, as if they are moving together through the darkness. And then they're gone. Just darkness once again. Some leave convinced they've witnessed an illusion. Others leave believing they've seen something science has yet to explain. And a few never find the right words at all. Maybe there isn't just one explanation: reflecting, atmospheric effects, or rare electrical phenomena. The Blue Ridge Mountains are among the oldest ranges on Earth. They've seen generations come and go. Native peoples, early settlers, Civil War soldiers, tourists. Each generation has looked toward Brown Mountain and asked, "What are those lights?" 200 years later, No one can answer for certain. Maybe that's why this story has endured, not because it proves the supernatural, but because it reminds us there are still places in this world that refuse to give up all their secrets. Whether they are a trick of nature or something more mysterious, they continue to fascinate, and perhaps some mysteries are worth preserving. Thank you for joining me. Until next time, keep your eyes on the shadows. If you enjoyed tonight's story, like the video and subscribe to Southern Shadows with M. Godfrey. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever seen the Brown Mountain Lights? Or do you have another legend you'd like to see? Until next time, keep your eyes on the shadows.